What's up everybody, Soul here with another sort of Convallaria video, and today I'm going to give you some helpful tips and tricks, some things you might want to utilize, take advantage of, or be aware of in Tower of Adversity. This video is a little overdue, so I apologize for the delay. Make sure you take a look at the timestamps down in the description. If you're having a specific struggle with a specific battle, make sure you find it down below and just skip ahead to where you need to. And yeah, I hope that this is to a benefit for you. And so a couple things real quick I have to highlight just in general. Any stage that you play, it's really nice that they've added a strategy tab with a nice little reminder. And then of course you're able to watch other people's clears and react to them, give them a like, and so on. Really nice, good stuff right there. And so that's really helpful and handy. And that makes everything much easier within itself. Of course, you want to maintain a certain score level in order to get as much as possible. And so maybe that's why you're here and you're looking at this guide. So without any further ado, let's get right into it, starting with difficulty 3. So here we are, difficulty 3 upper. This is your general fight where you're just trying to protect certain individuals and their cargo. A couple things to take note of course, is that these characters that are here, they will act on their own, these NPCs, and they will do what they want when they want. And so they can be a little bit of a booger. So this is one guy, he just steps up and he starts going here. These guys are extra tricky because they just walk around and they need help. And in fact, when they get hit, they even start crying, "Oh, help me." And then of course you've got these cargo you have to protect as well. If you're a high level, this isn't a concern for you because you're more or less just powering through all this. But yeah, if you're low level, if you're kind of working through the game, maybe you just started, this can be a challenge big time. And so that's something worth noting. Aisha is a fantastic choice because of her ability to guard and protect. That's why I utilized her here. And then of course, someone like Pamina with those taunts, things like that are absolutely great. On ongoing train, you'll see through these rank 3 difficulties as well, is that when you fight an enemy and you defeat them, they will break into pieces and turn into 2 Purus, or if I'm saying that right, I'm not sure, but they're little gloops. And so they'll spawn 2 gloops, and then that will quickly overwhelm you. They're relatively weak, but you need to be aware of that. If you have an enemy that's low and maybe a bunch of other enemies still up around them, maybe let them live and take care of those other enemies, get them low before killing them, because a bunch of Purus will spawn. And then the other thing that is an ongoing trend throughout all these levels is the buff that you get, Tide of Battle. When performing an AoE attack, if it hits no less than 3 targets, you recover 2 energy and you gain an act again. And this can be triggered 1 time per round. It's a really big deal. And of course, that's not limited to damage. That includes healing abilities, you being able to act again. And so really good stuff there. With that said, let's carry on. So we're going to do that little instant attack with Aisha, and then we set the guard to protect because he just heads right towards the enemies, whereas the villager, or civilian as we're going to call him, just kind of wanders around, doesn't really go to the enemies. Sometimes he goes away. Buff with Coco, get to act again. He goes a Nana. Getting the flag. The flag is absolutely awesome. Nice little buff, and you can actually target it with this AoE attack. So if you place it in the middle of enemies, it gives you a point of target to help you better position your AoEs. I don't know if everybody knows that. I don't think I mentioned it in my guide. And of course we got Sophia over there, another great character for this. And then we have Agatha. Agatha with her self heals. She's not relying on anyone. She has great damage and can heal up. It's really good. And Sophia, OG Sophia, is just going to wreck them. Got Aisha with the counters, absolutely tearing them up. It's good stuff. This fight is really straightforward for a high level count, and my count does classify as that, so it's relatively straightforward. I'm not min-maxing, I have to stress that too. So like, as you see that Puru just hit the box, I'm not stressing it. I really don't. I'm not fussed. I just want to beat it. I'm more worried about getting to the later challenges, a little more difficult. I don't really care about score. I'm not concerned with that as long as I get the clear and get the reward. There we go. It is nice that you're able to use those tactics in these fights. I find several attacks would be really, really helpful, especially later in fights. I'll go over that. I absolutely go towards those tactics. Divine Archer is a great one. Absolutely. March Command is another really good one. And then Maneuver is another really good one. Got to be able to teleport, move your people around. Really good stuff. And there's that Divine Archer. Just a little bit of extra work, a little bit of extra damage, and he kills. He does good stuff. That guard's taking that damage. He's just running at him. It's alright, Aisha's on him, so she can protect him. So he got hit, and then he just cried for help, as you saw. Good stuff there. And of course, these fights, they really want you to bring lots of AoE. That's what they're incentivizing. So characters that have a lot of AoE do a lot better in these fights. And of course with this, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be AoE. OG Sophia with her counterattack is AoE and applies and does really good stuff. It does need to be noted that if you're using an AoE like Pamina or OG Sophia and you're getting those AoE hits out of turn, or like our newest character in the game, Rico, it does not apply with that act again. You're not getting that benefit. It has to be an active attack. Or active ability, because it can be a heal as well. Sorry. Just piling up in on us. It's alright. We defeat him. The crew respawn. Coco puts him to sleep. We got Espionana coming over. Getting her hit in. Good stuff. Using that flag as a target. Fantastic stuff there. OG's Fight is such a strong unit. So much utility. Being able to summon, move places with summons. It's just so great. And you can move these NPCs around with her summon too. It's really powerful. Take that act again. Fight's almost over. We only got a few left. Really good stuff right there. Coco tanking like a champ. Not really fussed. And that's all you have to do is survive for X amount of rounds, and the fight comes to a stop. Now, for the other level, difficulty 3, bear in mind you have this cage right here in the middle. You can't pop that open and a wolf will come out. You have to defeat the Homas in this stage. They have a little bit of a mechanic, and it's a little bit different than the other fight. AoE is absolutely still king. You want to try to use AoE as best as possible. For me, these boars, taking them out is really important. They have a nice buff. It rewards your characters with 1 energy restored and attack 5%. So it's really, really good. So make sure that you take those out as best as possible. Fill up your character with energy. And then, of course, these Homas have something different on each one. This Homa right here will hit your people with a blind and the defense down 2. Of course, that's a little bit of an AoE right there. And then, of course, when you try to hit her, she's got that evasive mirage. This Homa right here has an assisting attack, and then she can make the character invincible and then deal 60% damage to the closest enemy 3 times. That's really important stuff right there. And then this back Homa right here is like a healer and summoner, and that she will heal anybody, restoring HP equal to 20% of her physical attack, and then dispelling 3 buffs, and also giving potential burst. She heals those allies in this, that, and the third. And then she summons 3 boars to join the battle. Those boars will summon right here. This boulder is conveniently placed to help deal with those. And yeah, these boars are all right here. Of course, you got the sack in the middle, so be aware of that. And let's get right to it. I like the whole scorched earth. approach to this fight. I've got Beryl with her rank 13 ability and Miguel with his rank 13 ability, and then Luvada, as you can see, continuous explosions, Michael Bay, madness, amazing. Purus don't stand a chance. It's another day with Luvada. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting in some work with them using Lutfi. Miguel comes over, that Roaring Flint, and Mourner to clear the crowd. We don't get the ripple explosion effect that we get with Luvada, obviously. We are using Tear. We want the energy. We want the battery. So thank you, Tear, for doing your job. Good stuff from Luvada. Ripple of Explosions. Wolf's been released. Set more tiles on fire. And then Beryl with her rank 13 does extra damage to any characters that are scorched. Absolutely awesome. Miguel coming over, just putting in the work. Shredding that Homa. You probably want to target the healing Homa first if you're struggling with this fight, or maybe your lower level account. For me, I just ran in. I get to barrel it through and just not really care, because it's just going to power through it. Good stuff from Luvada. Good ripple of explosions, as we have been seeing. Very satisfying gameplay. Do it again, because all that energy we got from those boars. And that act again from the AoE. And of course, Beryl putting in the work right there. Jumping over our enemies, get that energy. Another Mourner for Miguel. And there's that blind in effect and play. She gone. The thing you have to worry about those boars, they all have a decent charge. You can really cover some ground and get at your people. Defeating them is absolutely central if you're needing energy. Good stuff. And once again, I can't stress it enough, bring the AoE characters. Anyone that hits with AoE is pivotal here in Tower Diversity. Here we go, difficulty 4. So now we're going to take a look at this. This is another standard fight where you have to protect a certain point. The difference in this fight is that key points through the fight, you'll get to make some decisions, whether you want to be aggressive or not. As you can see, I would choose to be defensive and get these barricades. You choose according to how you prefer to play. It is nice. You'll get that choice again here shortly. In this fight, once again, AoE is king. I brought Momo because the alert units get a lot of attacks on a lot of enemies per turn. The ratio is really high without those act agains, of course. And then, of course, Momo's got an AoE, which we didn't bring in this fight. We brought her push-pull. Just thought it might be a good thing to explore. We brought Pamina for her counterattack AoE. Once again, that effect does not give act again if the AoE is out of turn. It's not an active ability. Here comes OG Sophia. Absolutely wonderful unit. Great synergy here all around Espianana and her aura. All these Convallaria / Iria units. Really good stuff there, Momo. Boom, counter AoE right there with OG Sophia. You thought you were going to come up towards us, but you ain't. Goodbye. Really good stuff. Here comes more enemies. We're going to teleport Aisha up there and just get a little AoE off and start attacking. We didn't hit 3 or more targets, so we don't get the benefit of act again on her. And then Espianana coming over, who that's where we're going to target with Aisha's defend. Or on duty, guard duty. I don't know what to call it, honestly. Probably read, but, you know, whatever. Good stuff there. Fantastic. Value of those alerts, just so many attacks in a turn, in a turn and around. Really, really good. Here's our second choice. We go push through. Set right there. Now we're protecting SP and Nana. And because we defeated an enemy based on our choice, they are now all stunned, which we chose to be aggressive in that setting. Now they all lose a turn, but that only is good for this one round. Will not happen again. Really good stuff there, clearing them out. Lots of stun turns being wasted. A little push-pull. Momo's AoE would have done a lot better right there, but, you know, like I said, I'm not worried about min-maxing this. I took what I took, and then, in hindsight, I would have changed it. There's her alert, popping off, doing its work. These pooters don't stand a chance. Here comes another wave. We're going to dive right in with Pamina, because that's what she does. She's so bad. I'm not going to cuss. She's really, really good. Lots of AoE counters, just clearing the crowds. It's so nice. Here comes those AoE counters from OG Sophia. She can just stand in the crowd and eat them up all day long. Really good stuff. These archers have charged attacks. They're going to wait a whole round before they get their attack. So you have to be a little more aggressive and push them, but it's not a big deal. Really good stuff. Just mowing. Just mowing. So much quality in OG Sophia. And here's our third and final choice. Reinforcements on the way. Rates a nice little buff. He binds OG Sophia. We come in with the AoE. We don't hit 3. But we do what we intended to. Got some kills. Really good stuff. So much value in that counterattack. Set up the alert again on Momo. We pull old boy over. Fantastic stuff. Great counterattacks there. There as well. Once again, we're high level for this, so we're just plowing through it, but this should give you some decent insight as to what characters do well, I hope. And yeah, let me know down in the comments if you're struggling at all, what parts you're struggling with, so I can answer you more accurately, maybe give you some better tips on what to do. Really good AoE hit there from SP Anana. And we spawn tons of pitters, which we don't mind at all. Detonation from the bomb finishes off that pitter. Perfect alert from Momo, putting in the work. A little auto attack there. You don't have to kill them all, you just have to survive and last X amount of rounds in this fight. So don't get overwhelmed by the sheer number of enemies, because there are a massive amount. Fortunately, we're able to mow quite a few of them down. That's where these AoEs come in. They're absolutely pivotal. Beautiful. Now this fight's a little bit different in that you're not going to defeat your enemies. You're going to do as much damage as you can. As you can see, he gave an AoE buff of dodge. For this reason, I brought Rico with her AoE attack, and we put Tuning Hammer on her so she can dispel those dodges. We're doing mostly AoE attacks, but Miguel's got some single target attacks and so on, and I was concerned about possibly having to use single target attacks with Luvada, and that's why I brought him, as well as, of course, SP Roia. Love her knockback single target attacks. However, it really was a non-issue, but it's a nice thing to have with that Tuning Hammer and that AoE Dispel, getting rid of that dodge. It will be done occasionally. Also, this unit right here, Calamity Spawn Drive, will get several movement buffs. And then this unit right here will not move and absorbs most of the damage, but can provide movement buffs to their allies. So dispelling those movement buffs is really, really big for me. I used fire to minimize their movement, and the key reason is because you want to protect this. It's part of the mission. You have to protect this healing power, and so minimizing their movements with fire, or dispelling their dodge and their movement buffs, absolutely key. And that's what Rico did for me with that AoE Dispel. Rico's really strong in this fight for that reason. Of course, Luvada is taking advantage of those fires and ignites. That ignite is really big because that damage doesn't populate on these enemies per se, but the boss, and it does apply in a really big way. And then Miguel really helps creating those fire tiles, as well with his rank 13 ability, and does really solid good damage. And then of course we got SP Anana, because she's going to come in and do some great damage as well with her AoE, and she's got some decent survivability. And then Tears the battery, giving everybody some energy, making sure they can keep doing their job and staying ahead of the opponent. And then the next big thing is, honestly, you want to protect these 3 tiles above all else. The enemy has a habit, when they don't have all that extra movement, to just come right into this middle area. When they have that extra movement, they will kind of try to go around and in behind. You need to make sure you keep your units in here, protecting this area right here. And if their movement is dispelled and so on, they will be lured in and they will get stuck in this area, as you are about to see. Make sure you're cautious of that Calamity Drive, that knockback too, because it will knock your characters off the stage very, very easily. It's 2 different knockback abilities, and one of which will knock your allies back by 2 tiles. Really good damage there from Barrow. We're getting everything rolling. Miguel steps out and sets everything on fire. It is perfect. It's just what we wanted. All that fire damage, them trying to move on it, just goes right over to the boss. It's free damage just for them trying to move. I'm going to position back around the healing card and make sure we're protecting this area. Don't let them through. Here comes AoE from Luvada. Decent damage. The ignites are where it's really at. Good stuff from SP Roia. Barrel with her AoE. Massive damage. Really, really good stuff. Numbers wise, it looks like it's really big and it's bigger than Luvada, but Luvada actually does almost double Barrel's damage with her damage over time. I don't think I have a screen for that, but regardless, I will tell you that. Sorry I don't have the screen for it, as I am clicking replay. There's a knockback. We knock Rico back. We don't mind. We're protecting this card. That boss will teleport over and hit and then teleport back, and it will ignore dodge. Cannot do it all the time though. Let's see if we can see what the cooldown of that is. We got 3 turn cooldown all day, and so be prepared. That will happen absolutely. And it seems to just target whoever he wants, so usually it's the weakest character. So if you're struggling with this fight and you've got a healer, maybe keep someone on their back just in case. But as you can see, we're kind of cloistered right here in front of this card, keeping them in this area. And keeping those movement buffs dispelled is absolutely massive. Another Mourner from Miguel. Lots of fire everywhere. They are scorched. They're losing damage for that. They're ignited. And then they're burning and hurting just for moving. Damaging the boss tons each turn. Absolutely loving it. There's that AoE dodge he just gave all of his allies. We're going to prepare everything with Tear. Get ready for the next little bit. A little drinky drink and dispel. That was no more dodge for everybody. Another AoE from Luvada. Good solid damage. Those AoEs are absolutely massive. All those actigins, free energy. Can't stress them enough. Make sure you got your AoE characters. Good stuff. And there's the fight. Now here's a fight that I know a lot of people have been struggling with. This is difficulty 5, lower. And so this one is definitely different. His first shot seems to just be a pop shot at whoever. I can't really tell what he's targeting there with that first attack. Usually he'll target somebody who's here. So you want your tank with the most defense to be here. We've got Daddy Tidon standing here, of course, for that reason. He's going to absorb all those hits and whatnot. Now this fight is your first fight where the mechanics are really, really heavy and the consequences are equally heavy. These Purus are going to try to march over here to this area, and you want to make sure that you're pushing them back, killing them, doing as much damage to them as you can, and knocking them off the stage as best as possible. As you can see, our lineup is Tidon, Tear, OG Anana, we've got Nydia, we've got SP, Sophia, and Rico with us. And Rico is going to basically single-handedly knock all of these guys down and keep them in check down here. Nydia is just going to be pouring in damage, doing as much as possible up here. And yeah, we're just going to make sure we heal at a certain stage of the fight where he spawns in what I'm going to call ghosts. I think they're called spectral. I don't remember what, but you're going to heal them and you want to get them full health as quick as possible. This is for once a fight where healing is a huge deal. As you can see, we have brought OG Anana. She's got almost 3,000 magical attack, and we have got basically all kinds of healing enhancement on her, which is really, really important. And then I have 3 healers in the team because of how important the heals are in this fight. Tidon did an amazing job tanking, creating that shield. There's a mechanic here where he uses this attack, and when he does do this attack, where is it right here? Mire Blight increased. Anyways, when he does the attack, it's going to hit your unit, and then whatever excess damage it does to their HP, it's going to hit everyone else for as well. So you want as much physical shield on your tank as possible to mitigate that damage. And I'll walk you through it as we're going through the fight. Here we are, got our AoE physical shield, setting up with Nydia. I'm going to start doing some damage. I didn't do damage over time with her, just went straight damage. Here's our knockback from Rico, getting everything going. We buff her attack on Nydia, making sure she's set. Gonna go ahead and use our first act again on her, get things rolling. Good damage right there, as you saw, 112,000. It's not the best, she can hit over 200, but it's not a bad turn. And there's that hit right there. And so, let me pause that. I accidentally almost paused my recording, or did pause my recording, so there's a small skip right there, I apologize. So, it's this ability right here. And so when he hits that, and he hits this, as you saw, it hit our tank and Tidon, and it chunked him a decent amount. And because it chunked him a decent amount, it hit everybody else too, and did some decent damage to them. The more damage does your tank, the more it hurts, obviously, everyone else. So make sure you have somebody with some physical shield, or you're giving them physical shield, whoever you got right here, so they can absorb that hit. It's not going to happen every round. As you can see, there is a 2-turn cooldown on that, and in fact, I'm pretty sure we're going to get this attack next, Wondrous Craft. So just get ready, which this is the debuff that's on everybody. You notice they're glowing. You absolutely need to heal everybody as best as possible. This is Mire Blight Mark, and so when removed when healed and unharmed. So you have to get them to an unharmed state, and then it'll be removed when they're healed in that unharmed state. Really, really tricky stuff. And then for that reason, I actually brought the tactic regeneration. And so I would highly suggest you to run that tactic in this fight. It makes a big difference where you're getting those heals each turn at the end of those turns. So if you can get your people healed up to healthy, and then at the end of the turn they regenerate, they're just going to get rid of that debuff in total. So as you can see, we're going to move over. Terra's full health, and when he healed, he lost that right there. Now, as you saw, Tidon right here, getting these damages in with Nydia. It's not going to let me click anything. Good, we got 232,000 on that. As you can see, Tidon is generally healthy. He is in the healthy range. But because he didn't receive a heal, he still got the debuff. And so we need to make sure that we get him in that range as best as possible. Now Rico's got a self-heal. Makes Rico even more perfect for this fight. Nice little AoE knockback. And then that knockback, when you knock them off the stage, it does good damage to the boss. Now we're going to get a nice little joint attack right here, joint strike. Just getting some extra damage in there. And then there's the heal. And then there's the heal from OG and Nana. Everybody is safe again. And the next part of this is going to be arguably the most difficult, which is right here. So let's take a look at what's happened right here. When we get that big hit, everybody's low health. If you have those marks, then you've got to make sure you backtrack and do your best to get rid of them, because your people will be wiped out in total. Now we're coming up on the next part here soon that I referred to that says the most difficult. You're going to see it in a minute. We're going to heal up and position our people. You want to position them carefully. As we see, we knocked them down. I started shifting people down here. Now, it's important to me that I try to get these spectral units that are about to spawn. I want them to spawn in these two rows as best as possible. I don't mind if they spawn in this row here. I don't want them to spawn here. I don't want them to spawn here. I don't mind here, but I don't want them to spawn here or in this area. So I start moving people in this area, but providing space and making sure they're not clumped up in an all-in-one line. I want to be able to get in between them for the heals and whatnot, and you'll see why in just a second. Dealing more damage with Nydia. 140,000 on that turn. It's mid. Good knockback from Rico. We're going to go ahead and activate this. Get that all set up. Because now we're going to need to get lots of heals out. Getting these Spectre units healed is the big one. And here's the most challenging part of the fight, in my opinion. And so what he just used is right here. It's this ability, Creation Spatter. And so he inflicts Mire Spatter on all Mire masses, which is his Purus. And then it summons 4 Wraith of the Orders at the center of the battlefield. It says center of the battlefield. They're not hard locked from what I can tell. If you're in here and in this area, they can move around. I've had this one right here in particular spawn right here. This is annoying. And so they each have their own health bar. They're all in dire straits, and if they die, you basically lose. You basically die. So it's what makes that tricky is that these Purus, if you notice, they're all kind of staticky and charged. Well, that's because they've got Mire Spatter. And so at the end of the turn, it deals AoE damage equal to 400% of the physical attack of the character and other enemies within a cross-range shape of 3 tiles. So 400% of 2,682 going out in a cross-shaped way, 4 tiles. It's massive. So as you can see, this guy right here is in line to hit him, and it's basically guaranteed to kill him. It is 3,500 HP. And then him as well, or her, sorry, at her 3,500 HP. So really important that we take care of these enemies and get these units healed up. Getting them healed up is the best strat, and getting out of the way of those hits is a big deal. This can be really tricky, but it's like a puzzle, moving everybody and getting everything done right. I'm going to slow things down a little bit. Old Daddy Tidon's going to hold his ground. SP Inanna's going to heal this flare and try to get some HP on them as quick as possible. And we're going to step back with Nydia and do some extra damage. And this time we break over 200,000. We're going to end up moving Nydia. She's in the way. Rico knocks those 2 off, so now we don't have to deal with them. They do respawn, but they don't have the spatter buff. We move Nydia. We walk down with OG Inanna and heal. Get everybody's health up as best as possible. And here comes those hits. increase the speed a little bit. They're going to do their little shocky shot hits. Everybody's pretty much out of the way. So we've done a good job here. Getting everybody positioned correctly to do that is arguably the hardest part of the fight. There's the big hit. He follows up. And so now everybody's debuffed again. And then he tanked that so well because of that physical shield. We're going to focus on healing. We really want these spectral units to be healed because they're still sharing damage and taking that damage with us. So as you saw, he smacked Tidon, and instead of just hitting our units, it hit everyone. And now they're marked with these debuffs. So now they all have to be healthy and healed or else they die. And once again, if they die, it's basically game over. Let's see right here. Yep, when defeated, it deals 999% magical AoE damage to all allied characters. Now, of course, if you've got unyielding strength, resolve, whatever, of course you can survive that. But outside of that, you're in trouble. So getting them healed is massive. Rico putting in the work, knocking them off, getting them back. Just come right over here, Rico. We're going to knock those off next. Getting the heals out as best as possible. He's fully healed. Now here's the beautiful thing. We got Nydia coming over. When they heal and they leave the battlefield, they leave behind a nice little buff. 158,000 from Nydia. It's decent. Another physical shield. Now this is where we use that regeneration. Now he is healed and he is left. He is healed. He is left. He is healed. He is left. Let's take a look at what they left behind. It's called Wraith Faith Shard. When an ally character stays, it gains Act Again and an additional skill, Banishing Conviction. Lasts for 2 turns. When an enemy character stays, it grants them Banishing Brand and eliminates them. So, if an enemy runs into this, they're gone. And it gives you this awesome Banishing Conviction. It basically is a guaranteed 1-tap shot and hit. I think it ends up equaling like 80,000 damage against the boss. When you do that, you cannot directly attack the boss anyways, just so you, a little heads up there. I don't know if I said that. So you're going to want to walk into those and get that buff. And of course, we heal everybody and make sure they're topped off. There's another one. You walk over here and get another one. Boom. But it doesn't stack. That's unfortunate. And so we don't get to use that ability twice, but we do get to act again. And so we're going to get another one here. And just going to clear them out. Really good damage. 116,000 is what we see right there on the screen. Come over and knock these bad boys back. Inconvenience them as best as possible. We do get the act again from OG Inanna. And then we're going to use that eliminate, get rid of that guy, and just send him back. So perfect stuff, and picking up the speed again. To me, that is the hardest part of the fight. If you can get the positioning down, then the rest of it, as long as you're able to survive and you meet the numbers, and you've got enough strength to do so, you'll be able to muscle through it. Rico coming in with that beautiful instant dash. We're going to call it. It's basically like a teleport. And then AoE hit. Let me knock those 2 Puras off. Get some heals from SP Sophia. And then heals from OG Inanna. Here comes some more damage from Nydia. So much damage. So good. 217,000. And the Pooters are marching on. Now they're charged again. We got more spectral units. So we're going to get right back into the groove. And as you can see, they're kind of in the same locations, but slightly different. It's all based on where you put your people. I like to have a little bit of space. I like this spot to be free most of the time because I want to be able to take heal and put people here to knock these Pooters off right here and just get rid of them. Kind of messed up on that. However, fortunately, the boss is low enough HP. I think we're about to take him out. So let's see what happens here. Just gonna get that guard out of the way. Nice little regeneration for everybody. We're able to heal everybody out really quickly this time. And so we're way ahead of the fight on that. And there you go. Thank you, regeneration. As you can see, they took their turns. They are already healed enough that when that regeneration procced, it full healed them, and ending their turns, they disappeared, leaving behind these wonderful shards. It was perfect. I cannot stress it enough. Make sure you are running the regeneration tactic. for your battle. Good stuff from Rico. Nice little knockback. Just clearing them out, making sure that it's in such a way that they're not able to hit us and do damage to us. And there we go. And the last fight on this video we're going to cover is, of course, difficulty 5 upper, and so, or lower, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But the other fight, and so this is another one of those fights where you basically have hordes of enemies coming at you and coming to attack you, and you want to be able to defend them. The difference is you have these points of interest, these supplies you're protecting. These supplies are really important. The cargo, because you can run them yourselves if you want, or these two workers will run them for you. They'll load bearers. And so they'll run supplies each round. They'll work and go up to this tile and then come down here and deliver it to the leader. And the leader, from this position, gets to cast different abilities. Of course, these are decision skills. You have Magnetic Drive, Spatial Collapse, the Magician's Fantasy, and Gale Infusion right here under Adversity Arts. And then Artificer's Craft. So you've got Summon Stockade, Summon Explosive Trap, Summon Blade Statue, and Summon Boulder. I'm going to tell you right now, and also you can see this, you stress that, your supplies are listed right there under the leader's buffs. You just simply click on a leader and you'll be able to see the buffs on their little icon down below. But you can always click the details and see that number right there. That's how many supplies you have. Now, with that said, the only two things that I utilized, which mainly was just the one, Summon Blade Statue. That does so much for you. It's all you need. The enemies will even target it, hit it, be punished for it. Can't heal afterwards because they receive no healing. Really, really good. Occasionally they get out of whack, they get too far spread apart, or they get in behind you. That's when you want to use Spatial Collapse and pull them in and move them all back into one pile. Outside of that, feel free to use those tactics as you see fit. I will say these load bearers will move loads in. I think they bring in like 20 supplies at a time. Whereas if you pick up a load of supplies, I think the number is much higher. It's somewhere like 40, I mean, that you're going to bring in, which, yeah. Not bad stuff. We do that with our SP and Nana. We go ahead and set up and take some supplies just to start the fight off. And then Pamina goes up and aggroes everybody to do those wonderful AoE attacks. Of course, we brought SP Rawia, OG Sophia, Momo. Here comes SP Rawia. These beautiful AoE attacks. Really good stuff there. That's one big difference in this fight. You see right here, we no longer have that buff where we are getting rewarded for hitting tons of enemies at once. That's notably what makes difficulty 5 harder. Instead, you literally have this cargo hauling and the supply mechanic in play, and so hitting all those enemies at once really doesn't give you any extra benefit other than just dealing damage. Just want to clarify that. Good AoE from Momo. Set up that alert. There's the boss summoning more. This kind of fight's really fun. I like it. I enjoyed this a lot. I can do with more battles like this. Good stuff. Momo putting in the work. Each time we defeat an enemy, we're dealing damage to that boss. That's that lightning crash you see or hear in the background. We knock him back into the blade trap with knockback, and it triggers the blade trap, and for minimal damage. So now you can see these have all been hit, and now they've also received no healing. It's really, really decent stuff. Blade traps are really OP in this. Not only an object you got to traverse over and use extra movement to get around or over, they also deal damage each turn. And then when they are damaged, they retaliate with a counterattack. Stuff there. Stuff from Pamina. Beautiful alert from Momo. Spawning more blade traps. All the supplies brought in. Really good stuff. Beautiful AoEs. Love it. Little retaliation right there. Great stuff. Beautiful damage from SP Rawia. Getting OG Safai in position. More units will spawn over there on the far east side of the map. However, we're just going to position it over there because that's kind of a choke point in the bottom there. More blade traps. Now, if you're struggling with this fight and you don't really have the strength to just take out the enemies quickly like I am, you probably want to focus on gathering the supplies and hauling them and creating the traps. There's nothing wrong with that. However, if you've got the strength, obviously the fight's going to look more like this, where your units are spread out and able to handle them at the different points of entry. But those blade traps, I can't stress it enough, they absolutely put in work. Utilize them. The explosive traps are decent, but the AoE is relatively small. It does stop their action, so there is that. There's a benefit there. And then, of course, you've got the blockade, the stockades, as they're called. And then, yeah, the boulders. And the boulders are really good, but they only go straight and until they hit something. So there's only certain areas where they're really effective. And it's always rolling downhill, too, mind you. It is good to know that if you create a boulder and they hit it, it will not trigger the boulder. At least it hadn't for me when I was playing. But I was able to trigger the boulder with no issue. Tell me if that's wrong in the comments down below. But that's what happened for me. And so there you have it. That's everything up through stage 5. I'll do stage 6 in a totally separate video, and I'll do that relatively soon. These fights, like I said, AoE is massively rewarded up until stage 5. Then you're going to start seeing the harder mechanics of the game kind of come into play, especially in that other path, I believe it's lower, where you have to specifically play with a certain strategy and actually bring some solid heals to the fray. Really, really big deal. But I hope this video is helpful to you. I hope it helps you clear your content. Make sure you drop me down in the comment, in the description, oh, I'm sorry, in the comments, what you think and how you have been doing in your Tower Adversity gameplay. I want to know, has it been challenging for you? Has it been a breeze? Just tell me what you think. I think a lot of people have been saying that it's really, really hard, but I think that's because they don't quite understand the mechanics, and I'm hoping that this video really can help with that. So, thank you so much for watching. Huge shout out to my Patreon members. As always, you guys are the ones that make me capable of creating all the content, getting the characters, creating the guides, and to be able to do everything. So thank you so much for your support. Make sure you check out the links down below for our Patreon and our Discord, where we talk all things sort of Convallaria and then some. We'd be more than happy to have you with us. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you. Make sure you drop me a like and a subscribe, as it really helps me out. And I wish you the best in all of your sort of Convallaria adventures. Take it easy, and bye.